I took over the Bulawayo Province in July 2019, coming in from Matebeleland North Province. Coming into Bulawayo in July 2019, there had been this demonstration where a lot of property had been destroyed. Then obviously, because of that, I came in with a lot of pressure because there had been some considerable destruction of property. And members of the public were not too sure if the police were really able to protect them. So obviously that became a motivating factor. Ukuthi, when I came into Bulawayo, I told myself that at least I should try and gain the confidence of members of the public. Therefore, I took it upon myself and all my subordinates. I actually made a tour of all the districts in Bulawayo, where I spelled out my wishes and desires of making Bulawayo Province a safe place to live in. During those meetings, I solicited for comments. I solicited for ideas, which I would obviously add, subtract, and it all built in that I discovered that everyone else was really willing to work towards restoring the confidence to the Bulawayo community.
Okay.
That was the starting point.
So what ethic did you instill into the subordinates, as you say?
I instilled hard work. That, gentlemen, we are here to serve members of the public. That's our core business anyway, to prevent crime, to protect the property, to protect life. So I instilled that wish that everyone should feel that I have a duty to play. I've got a duty to do, and which is to ensure that I protect people. And that worked very well. Because people really started, from my own perspective, that is, I could see changes really, that people were serious, and those on patrol would patrol earnestly, and they would be found in their areas of patrols. And the supervision by the commanders was at its highest ebb.
And then also you spoke about the working hard. One of the things that we have noticed is that every time people smuggle goods, they can pass through the border and all that, but the moment they get into the province, they are caught. And you have called the press and people numerous times to Rose Camp to see the stolen goods. What is your secret, if there is?
There isn't a secret, as it were, but it was a matter of telling everyone and each one that those who will be manning roadblocks, we would tell them the purpose of those roadblocks. We wouldn't want to care what would have happened to that particular truck or that person. But when they get into Bulawayo Province, where within our jurisdiction, we would simply say, you should do your duty in the best way you can. to the best of your abilities. And I was surprised to some extent because quite huge trucks with a lot of smuggled goods would be arrested. Then personally, of course, I was elated that at least my subordinates, those that I oversee over, were doing that what we had agreed on the onset. So that's how we managed to arrest these people.
So from 2019 until now, it's like, what, 3 years? Which are the most smuggled goods in Bulawayo that you find, all right, that you find within your jurisdiction?
Foodstuffs and beer.
Mm.
Yeah, those are the most. Because at times these vehicles are arrested when they are on transit, actually. They wouldn't be coming into Bulawayo per se. They would be passing through, but they would be caught before they get out of Bulawayo Province. But in the majority of cases, you find that foodstuffs and these illicit beers and things like that, that's what has been mostly found in these trucks.
Are these people up working for other people, or are they syndicates, or are they kingpins of smuggling, or is just individuals?
No, it would appear it's a racket sort of. It would appear there is people who are working for somebody. The majority of these people might be drivers, because, for instance, for one lorry that were arrested here, there were a lot of people who came down, and some, of course, would phone. A lot of telephone calls were made, some to myself and some to the provincial spokesperson. Who People were trying to find out maybe some easier way of trying to convince us to let the truck proceed with its journey and things like that. But of course, we remained adamant that crime is crime, and we're going to stick to that, and we just did that.
What was in the truck that was so
I
much interest?
assorted foodstuffs, beef, beans, soups. I can't recall really, but it was all food stuff. Yeah, in abundance, in very big quantities. Sweets, cakes, biscuits, and things like that. Yeah, but they are all stuff that can be sold, say, in a supermarket or something like that. So, to a certain extent, maybe we thought also maybe this was a supermarket delivery or something.
Are there any efforts trying to arrest the people who are ordering, and it seems that they have a lot of money? If someone can come and they bribe their way until their destination, since you say it's in transit.
It's a bit difficult because we deal with these people. We'll be asking these people who were sent you, then you'll be giving various names and things like that. But then eventually we just refer this vehicle to Zimbra for further management. But Zimbra has got its own way of doing things then. But as for us, I think we only deal on the matter that the driver was caught with this contraband is the person that we deal with. The rest of the investigations and the inquiry are normally done by the same people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have also saw some, I think it was last year, where the police vigorously investigated and arrested armed robbers that were wreaking havoc. Even today, we were at the Central Police Station with Inspector Mule, where the police arrested the machete gang, about 8 suspects. How have you been handling these cases, and what you attribute for as police to be maybe so swift in trying to arrest these suspects and stem these armed robberies?
If you may recall that in our police, our client service charter, we promised the members of the public that we were going to assist in stamping out the fear of crime within the communities. Of late, we have had these various robberies where the usage of machetes, axes, and some other dangerous weapons have been on the loose. So obviously it becomes a problem. It really becomes a very big problem to us when we receive these reports, numerous reports from across the city and in the western suburbs. So we always try and revise our strategies. Once these things become many, we then call upon our teams. We've got crack teams, very serious police officers we rely upon from both the criminal investigation department, our police intelligence, and the normal DUB, who at times, depending on the situation, we request them to remove their uniforms and put on civilian attire so that they are able to really get information from whatever source. And we've also encouraged our operatives to have as many informers as they possibly can, so that information, that whatever small information that they may be, we take it serious and we sit down and try and analyze it. Then our crack teams will be deployed. That's how we come to, after following a simple information at times, it leads up to, as the one you've alluded to. It was just a simple information that was followed, but it led to the recovery of a firearm which had been stolen elsewhere, and to the arrest of these various accused persons. We are clearing quite a number of cases that had been reported with other accused persons. That to us is a plus. Yeah.
So when you speak about that, these people or these suspects are clearing in many cases, does it point to a syndicate of armed robbers, a group of armed robbers that are just terrorizing the Bulawayo community?
It would appear there are many groups, because this is one particular group that has been accounted for. But these offenses are still operating. They're still being reported. They're still occurring, which to us indicates that there are some out there who have not yet been accounted for, but who are also in the same game. So it would appear there are various groups that are involved in this. Because if it was one group, at least we would have seen a lull in the commission of this crime. But it would appear they are still there, because they could be less, because I think today we're at about 3, but that does not really, we're not yet satisfied that we've accounted for all. We still believe there are some out there, and we're still working on that.
Are there any hotspots in Bulawayo for those crimes?
Yeah, we've got areas like Caudry Park. Yeah, that area, Caudry Park, Nkulumane, Sekusile area. Yeah, those are problematic areas. But we've taken into consideration that these are hotspots, and we deploy there sort of a semi-permanent deployment. And unfortunately, when we do that, these criminals shift the focus. The next thing you hear, there's been a similar breaking in the eastern suburbs. So that means it's a mouse case situation. But be that as it may, we are doing our utmost best to try and bring peace to Bulawayo.
Is there any indication of where or what these groups use that, like the televisions that we saw, I think there were about 14, 15 that we saw, fridges, do they sell them to buy drugs or just sell them to enrich them? What happens to that? Why do they have this urge to just steal?
You see, at times, a thief is a thief. The first thing that they demand from their victims is money. And they ransack the house looking for money. In the absence of getting any money, they wouldn't just leave. That's when they end up stealing TVs and things like that. But I want to believe that ultimately those TVs will be disposed of by means of selling them otherwise. But otherwise, their main aim is looking for money. Because they also appear to be having some information, because in the majority of cases, these criminals actually attack someone who would be having some sort of money somehow. It would appear they would have done their research, or they would have some information of some sort that they do follow.
Okay. So last year you went around and you spoke to the business community and people from the security sector.
Yes.
And you indicated that most of these crimes are inside jobs. And now it seems that even the crimes that are being committed at homes are they inside jobs, or is it people being careless with information and telling people their business?
When we held a meeting with members of the community, of the business community, we were actually educating them about, because we had discovered that on a particular day when they would have collected cash and that cash would not have been banked, there would be a break-in. That means obviously the thieves would have known that there is cash. So I'm actually happy to say that message was well received by the business community. And the suggestions that we gave them, the tip-offs that we gave them, they were followed up. They did follow, and as a result, that crime has sort of gone down. But these ones which are happening in the residential areas, you find that the owners of those residential areas, most probably is the business person who has a shop in town, is a tuck shop, you see. So people, or is the so-called money changers. So it's someone who knows that so and so has got some money, then they do attack. So we're also trying to and people are also careless to a certain extent, also by divulging that maybe I've got some money, or somebody pretends to come to you for pretending to be wanting to do a deal of changing money with you, but whilst he is actually monitoring your movements and situations. These are some of the things that we feel are happening. But unfortunately, the so-called money changers, they drive into town and drive back home. They have no somewhere we call a sort of a safe haven where they can be taking their monies or loot to, other than to take them home. And these criminals would then follow them at home.
And then also we had, I don't know if we follow the nationally that there's a drug problem. They call it Torino, I think here it's called cards, and the other illicit alcohol that is there in the city. How are the police fighting that crime to protect the youth who seem to?
Yeah, we do a lot of arrests if we come across areas where this particular illicit trade is taking place. But as you would know that someone who is also aware that the police are after us, because at times you might find me seated here whilst I'm hiding whatever I'm hiding elsewhere. Once you know that I'm selling this, you come, we deal. I just go as if I'm going somewhere. I bring the thing, I give to you, you put it under wraps, and you disappear. So this is the problem that we're having. It's not that it is something that is being sold in the open market. But because the people are aware, those who deal in those illicit beers and drugs, they are aware that the police are also on the hunt for them. So they do it clandestinely. And that's why we always want to say members of the public should work hand in glove with the police. If they do, we can achieve more.
Is there anyone in particular who you have found that this is the major supplier of these drugs that we have arrested?
Not as yet. We have had our drug section, CID drug section. They've arrested here and there, but you find you haven't really found the big guy. No, because I don't know how they do it, but even the ones that are being used, they are very, very reluctant to mention names. And as a result, it's a bit difficult. Yeah, but you are still on we're still dealing with that, and we're still working on it. We're trying to, and hopefully we'll break through. We'll have a breakthrough.
Away from the serious things for a minute, yeah, who's the Commissioner Mbangwa? Where did Commissioner Mbangwa learn? Which school did you go to? Who is he as a human being? Can you see you in your serious face in your serious office?
Well, I was born and bred in Plumtree. And I grew up, I'm a rural boy. I grew up out there.
Plumtree, where in Plumtree?
Sanzukwi. Yeah. There's a place known as Sanzukwi. That's where I grew up. I did my primary education out there and moved to Inyati Secondary School, where I did my secondary education. Well, my school days were interrupted during the liberation struggle, and we had to also join the struggle.
What year was that?
That was 1977. Yeah. And well, some of the experiences, I'm not at liberty to discuss them at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, but those are some of the things that we went through. Yeah. And I joined this organization in 1980 as a constable.
Station where?
My first station was Gweru Central. From Gweru Central. In fact, I was in Gweru for what? Because I was Gweru Central, went to Gweru Rural, went to Manomotapa, back to Central, then went to Mataga in Berengwa. Then came here to Bulawayo Central.
What year was that one?
Bulawayo, it was 2000.
Okay. You're still a constable then?
No. When I came to, in fact, I got promoted to sergeant whilst I was in Gweru Central. I got promoted to PO whilst I was
PO is provincial
patrol officer. Then,
Okay.
whilst I was at Gweru Rural, got promoted to assistant inspector whilst I was still in Gweru, and got promoted to inspector and deployed in Mataga. I didn't stay long before I moved to Central. I was an inspector. Got promoted whilst I was here to superintendent and moved to Victoria Falls. as Deputy Officer Commanding District Victoria Falls.
You were under who?
I was under Chief Superintendent Alexio Barazai. Then I was transferred from Victoria Falls to Nkai, once the district was still headquartered here in Southampton House. That's when I met Inspector Ngove in Nkai.
All right.
From Kai, I was transferred back to Lupane as acting officer commanding Lupane district. Then got promoted to chief superintendent in 2006 and transferred to police general headquarters as a staff officer, human resources administration. That was in 2006. 2009, I went for a peacekeeping duties in Sudan, South Sudan. 2010, I came back. I was then redeployed as the officer commanding district, Harare, Zimbabwe. From 2010 up to 2013, when I got promoted to assistant commissioner and deployed in Mansh East, Maronder. 2015 January, I was transferred to Harare under the National Lands Inspectorate. I headed that team from 2015 up until 2018, when I was promoted to senior assistant commissioner, then subsequently deployed to Matabele North as the officer commanding. That's when the rank of senior assistant commissioner was abolished, and we got the rank of commissioner, wherein I was then transferred from North to Bulawayo.
I have been what you call a nomad.
Yeah, I've covered quite a number of, and I've traversed the breadth, the width and breadth of this country, especially under the National Land Inspectorate. We visited entirely all of the provinces in the country. Yeah, I'm quite versed with Zimbabwe.
What is the common denominator in Zimbabwe that you have seen since you've gone so many places?
Common denominator as in?
Like the common thing that you find is the only, maybe the, not the, yeah, the common thing that you find among Zimbabweans that you have interacted with.
Well, Zimbabweans are hardworking. Zimbabweans want honest people, especially as from our side, as the police. People want honest people, people who give them correct advice, people who are generally friendly and people you can work with. I was also part of the Command Agriculture, where I interacted with quite a number of people, and we did quite a lot of these things. So Zimbabweans are enterprising as it were.
So my second last question to you is, how are you in Bulawayo fighting corruption amongst each other in the police service or force?
That's a tough question. But we are fighting corruption by talking to people, talking to our members. We've made it a point that whatever it is, where someone in a managerial post who has at least somebody under him, we should always talk about corruption. We should encourage each other to, 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 to know the nature of our work. What are we supposed? We're actually supposed to be serving members of the public. Members of the public should be our friends. They should feel free when they see us. So, but of course, it is very difficult at times that what you say by word of mouth is different when it comes to someone doing. We always tell our members that they should shun corruption, they should serve people honestly, and they should always live within their means. They should accept whatever they have and live within that, rather than to aspire to be what you are not and what you don't have resources for to be able to do that. And as a result, it becomes a very big problem. Yes.
Why I'm asking is because earlier on you had spoken that there was a truck, then there were people calling you, trying to, at least the pressures that you have every day in your work.
You see, what happens, people always give a try. I was a new man then, and people did not know how serious I was when it comes to my work. Most probably they were thinking that maybe they will be able to convince me otherwise. But once they discovered that talking to me is a waste of time, it has subsequently gone away. It has subsequently gone away. Yeah. When somebody phones, people will always phone anyway and ask for favors. You always tell him that if you've been arrested, really, what do you expect me to do? Just go through what is needed out of you. Then, rather than to try and ask me to give you some special dispensation of something. That is one of my strongest points anyway.
And then lastly, are you as police in Bulawayo satisfied with the work you have put in, or you think you can do much better?
It's very difficult to actually say one is satisfied, but what I can say is, you see, there are new challenges every day, because criminals also, it would appear, they plan on a daily basis as well. So you can never say this strategy has worked and we stick to it. Because you find that once you are pursuing this strategy, someone else does something that is without that strategy which you did plan. So we're always seeing new things and finding solutions to the new things every day. So in police work, you can never say I've done enough. Not at all. In police work, you always meet these new challenges every day. And we try and solve them as they come.
Well, because something just came up on my mind right now, where you say there are strategies that you try and implement, then the criminal goes and does something else, and you spoke about some crimes are committed because of inside jobs. Are there any of those in your organization? Some challenges that maybe someone within the organization is supplying the criminals with that information, that now we're going to be doing this, do that?
I wouldn't want to say that because I haven't got any evidence to that effect. But at times, it's very difficult because you plan something and the results thereafter you only suspect that most probably someone is sold out. But without evidence to that effect, to say so and so did this, it's a bit difficult to really bank on it. But it is something that cannot be ruled out anyway.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
But before maybe we conclude, give me this opportunity to say, to say our plea is that may members of the public assist the police if we were to win this war against criminals. Because it is not a secret that these criminals stay amongst ourselves. These criminals stay within us. They are our friends, they are our children, they are our buddies. But someone out there is very much aware that so and so did that, and he keeps it to himself. And as a result, this fight against the crime becomes a bit difficult. If members of the public could come forth with whatever information that they think, let it be given to the police, then the police will sieve and see if the information can be of any value. Then we can satisfactorily say we are fighting this crime, which I believe if we do join hands. We've got a lot of platforms. We have got the neighborhood watch committees that we have introduced as the organization to try and assist in fighting crime. We've got the crime consultative committee for us, whereby we are saying members of the public should join this so that we sit down. We also need ideas from them. If they so think that, why don't you do this as the police? We've got business against the crime back force, whereby we're saying, please come in and assist with the resources. At times, our job is handicapped by lack of adequate resources at times. But if members of the public could come, I'm sure we can be on top of the situation. Because some of these offenses occur in the glare of some of us, but we just say, it has nothing to do with me. But tomorrow we're not sure whether it will directly impact on you. But if you just advise the police, I saw such a thing. But I also need to take this opportunity to say, to thank those who are working so much with the police. We've got a lot of other people who are helping us a lot, who are giving us information. And most of the information that we are given by members of the public is positive. But there are some who do not want to come into the open. And as a result, crime keeps on going up. Maybe those would be my remarks.
Thank you very much for your hospitality, Commissioner, and speaking to us, and opening up about your life and your work here in Bulawayo.